What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Here we are at episode 28. Hey guys, I'd like to start off by saying this podcast is brought to you by Yellow Jacket. Guys, Yellow Jacket has been a great supportive sponsor of this podcast, and we can't thank them enough. Guys, I've said this many times. If you guys are in search for a new leak detector, please check out the Yellow Jacket UV leak detector. I have one of these personally. The thing has been great. I love it. I have not one bad thing to say about it. So check it out, guys. Yellow Jacket's been making innovative products in our industry forever. So guys, 66 years of expertise built into every tool. Yellow Jacket. The next one, guys, is Webbit. Guys, Webbit is the designers who take care of our podcast website. Guys, they have been great. 49. Here, let me make sure you guys can hear me. I'll turn this little beat off. They are the ones who do the website for me and Kelly for the podcast. Guys, it's $49 a month. Yes, I know there's some things out there where you can pay $25 and build your own website, but okay, I'm not a fucking web designer and I don't want to have to worry about it. Okay, for $49 that me and Kelly pay per month, all we have to do is make a call. Our representative, Tyler, is the man. He answers the phone, emails, all times of the night. We've actually became friends. I call him, hey, we want to add this. We want to do this. And it's done. Guys, any of you guys out there looking for a website, whether it's for your business, your wife sells fucking knickknacks, whatever it may be, give us an email at hvacuncensored@gmail.com, and I will forward you the information and get in touch with Tyler, and they will get your website up and running. I promise you'll be happy. And third and finally, guys, you're sitting there, you're watching YouTube, you're sitting on your ass, you're watching live streams, you're watching my YouTube channel, or, well, our YouTube channel, or you're watching Kelly's HVAC Millionaire, you know, and your ass is getting sore, man. You're sitting there, this chair sucks. Guys, check out Killabee.com. Killabee, Killabee.com. Check out some of the chairs they got on there. They have some really, really nice products. And when you get to the bottom to check out, in the discount code, put in Autism Speaks 2. That's Autism Speaks 2. And that's going to help our good buddy Isaiah over there at his ZSA on YouTube. So let's go over and help Isaiah out. Enough of me yapping my mouth. Let's get to the podcast.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the USA.
If you're trying to take your HVAC game to the next level, then buckle your seatbelt, crank up the volume, and try not to be offended, because you're listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast with Gil Cavey and Kelly McKay. Now, here's Gil and Kelly.
What up, what up, what up? All you crazy bastards out there in podcast land, welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored podcast, where I am yours truly, Mr. Gil Mother Effin' Cavey, sitting along my BFF, Mr. Kelly McKay.
What's
up, buddy?
I think what's up is a polar vortex.
Yeah, I guess you're probably right. Maybe don't want to get caught in that thing.
Hell no. We got temperatures in Milwaukee. Let's see. Temperatures tonight. It's Wednesday night. We always record typically on Wednesday nights. And so in Fargo, North Dakota, the record was in 1887. It was negative 34 degrees. The forecast tonight is negative 29. So I think we may set some records across the country tonight.
Yeah. Well, it's bad here, man. Right now it says it's 10 degrees, but with the wind chill,
Whew.
it's -8.
That sounds like some after hours calls
Yeah,
going on there.
I was smoking a stick.
Yeah.
Yeah, not this
Yeah,
guy.
it's 15 here. It's 15 degrees,
But yeah,
not much wind. So the low is 14. So we're 1 degree away from the low for tonight already.
yeah. But what gets me here is I'm looking at it. So it's supposed to be cold to finish out the week. It says a high of 23 tomorrow, a high of 27 Friday, Saturday 43,
Yeah.
and then next Tuesday it's fucking 61
That's what we got.
degrees.
That's what we got
What the
here. 60
fuck?
degrees on
Like,
Saturday, 65 on Sunday.
dude, this
Can you
weather
believe
is
that?
Dude, that is nuts, man. We need to stop. Mother Nature is not happy with us.
Yeah.
We've been screwing
many
her over so
CFCs.
long that now she thinks she's just fucking with us. It's it's crazy.
Yeah, it's cooling us
Yeah,
down.
exactly. It's that goddamn R22, I tell you.
Other than that, what's up, man? What's happening in your world?
Nothing, man. We're actually it's busy as all hell here with the weather we've been having. It's weird. I think I told you before when it was just me and you talking like on the phone. We've had quite a few system sales, but it's been a lot of like piece-in sales. There's been like a lot of furnaces. We've had a couple of people. It's just been like an outdoor unit. Thank God the system was 410,
Yeah.
obviously. But yeah, so it's been quite a few sales. It's been a lot of just furnace only sales, you know. The guys finding crack heat exchangers. I'm very, very proud of our guys. And guys, I've talked about them a million times, so I won't go into depth. But the heat exchanger experts, their class is awesome, and the stuff we've learned there has paid for itself tenfold. And it just teaches you the proper way. And our guys have been following it, and it's helped everybody. For one, we're getting unsafe furnaces, you know, out of customers' homes. People are safe. The company's making a profit. Guys are making a commission off of what they're doing. And, you know, it's no dirty trickster shit. You're just doing your job. So it's been awesome. I recommend that everyone who has not taken that class, take it. If you have, take it again. So check out their website. You know, Christopher and Russell are awesome dudes, and they're actually going to be on the podcast as guests, you know, probably here shortly, but they're on tour right now. So it's kind of hard to get them, but they will be on here. Sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a rant, Cal. But other than that, man, we're good, bud. How about you? I saw that your office is all nice and decorated.
Yeah, it's coming together finally. Like I said, had one of our younger techs during some slower days here a few weeks back. He's been back in the field since the weather turned cold again, but you know, him and another guy pretty much did everything. Built a couple of walls, basically. We just need more office space. So I still have one section in the back of my shop that's just storage that I'm probably going to either buy another Connex, or I will just cram all that shit that's back there into the current Connex that we have, so I can make that office space as well, because I still need more office space, or I'm going to here soon. But other than that, we're not super busy. I mean, we've been busy with service work. Had a couple of complaints here recently.
What?
Yes. One particular guy, we came out last weekend, or it was 2 weekends ago, because everybody in our area had power outages. Like the lights at my house they probably turned on and off probably 30 times in like a 3-hour span. It was just sometimes 4 or 5 times in a row, stay on for 10 minutes. So it had to be way more than 30, probably 60 times, probably double that. And I guess everybody else in our area was having the same thing. Like I'm talking 40 miles away, they were having the same thing. So as you can imagine, that caused a few furnaces to trip on high limit because they shut off in the middle of a cycle. And so we had to go out and reset one of those limits, and we did our due diligence and checked everything else out on the furnace and cycled it on and off 3 or 4 times and checked the amp draw on the draft motor and the amp draw on the blower motor and clean, just did our due diligence, checked the filter, but charged him overtime rates, plus a little bit more overtime diagnostic fee, which he expected to pay, and he knew what the price was before we even headed out there. And then we charged him a little bit more just for the work that we did while we were there. And he was not happy with me, with our company, because he felt like we didn't build the value in it. So one of the reasons was that he hadn't received the invoice yet, so he didn't technically know everything that we did. So 2 days later, he calls. Well, he called Monday and wound up hanging up on my CSR because he just wasn't happy. And my CSR didn't handle it quite the way. It was a great coaching opportunity, and we coached him. And but then he called back again the next day, and basically he had gotten the invoice at that point. And because he had communicated to us that he was a senior citizen and retired, we gave him a discount. And so then he read the invoice and saw how much we actually did while we were out there, and total turnaround. Now he's so, he appreciates our service. He's going to tell his friends about us. And but I'll tell you, I listened to the call, and one of the first things I heard from him was, yeah, everything's just so damn expensive now. And so that right there is the actual complaint, I believe. It wasn't us. It's just that, man, the cost of living has went up so high in the last 6 years, like crazy high. And so I feel everybody's frustration out there when some unexpected repair happens and you got to pay for it. And unfortunately, we're out there doing those repairs, so we catch some heat sometimes for it. But it's a lot of times it's not you they're complaining about, and that's what I heard in that call. But so what I did to make this right with him is I sent him a referral certificate, where if he refers somebody, basically it's worth 10% of the call. So I'm giving him that 10% back to him that he can use on future repairs, or he can use it himself. Well, using himself for a future repair or product or an installation in the future, or he can give that to somebody else and pass it along, to a neighbor, a friend, a family member, a coworker, or I guess he's retired, so maybe his son works or his wife works, and it'd be a nice little gift to give to somebody if somebody becomes in need of our services. Then I sent him a really cool card just telling him how much I appreciate him, and also added 2 chocolate covered Oreos that he'll get in the mail too. So I'm going to kill him with kindness and just let him know just how appreciative we are of him, because I really do appreciate him.
Chocolate covered Oreos. That's awesome though, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. So just trying to go above and beyond for him, let him know that we really are a genuine company that wants to do the right thing. So I think we'll probably have a customer for life.
That's good, man. I'd say you guys handled that, class act. You really did. I have one question though. When you say he didn't totally get the invoice, so you don't give the
here. Let me explain just a little more. So typically we would collect, but this was one of our newer guys who, he's a veteran. He's been doing it for a long time, but so he's not 100% comfortable with. He's used to the old pen and paper, like what you guys are using. He's not used to the tablet. He's not used to the, digital invoicing, and the homeowner, which we should have clarified this before we went out, but the guy who was paying the bill it wasn't his house. It was his son's house. So that was kind of why we didn't collect while we were there. Because normally I'm a real stickler for collecting when we go out. And I already had that conversation with my CSR to make sure that we do collect, because I've been burned too many times on the weekend. Boy, you go fix somebody and you fall to the bottom of the shit list on who gets paid next after it's fixed.
Yeah, That's why we stick with the whole COD. Just because of
Yeah.
that. To be honest, we have this doctor. He's an old Indian man, which we have stop service in there, but the owner had the phones on a weekend. We went out there. I ended up going back, and it's one of his rental properties he was trying to sell. Outdoor unit was it was weird. It was a newer Goodman air handler, just with a piston hooked up to an old piece of shit outdoor unit that was R22. The outdoor unit, like the electrical cover was gone. I mean, it was completely flat on refrigerant. It was done. So it had to be replaced.
Yeah.
A new thermostat wire needed to be ran from the indoor to the outdoor. A new disconnect and whip, all that kind of stuff outside. But anyway, he does it. He gives us a deposit check. Deposit check's fine, but the balance ended up being like $1,800. Check bounces. And this guy, he likes me, but when I first went in, he's known for having all this money, but his checks aren't always good. I go in there and I said something. I was just trying to verify his phone number, and he goes, "Why are you fucking with my mind, Gil?" I was like, "Excuse me, sir?" He was like, "Why are you fucking with my mind?" I was like, "Sir, I just asked you to verify your phone number." I said, I don't know why you feel that way. I said, but I said, I'd appreciate it if you didn't cuss at me like that. I said, I'm going to treat you with the utmost respect. I'd appreciate if you do the same for me. And he was good. All after that, he was fine. My guy goes out there, does the work. He like rips the corner off the check. So the office manager makes him go back, get another one. Okay. That check bounces. We were going to send one of our guys to go pick up the check today. He's on the phone with him, and I could hear that he's like, "Are you fucking stupid? Are you stupid? Let me talk. Stop talking. Shut up. Let me talk." Like just bitching my guy on the phone. Yeah. So I get on the phone. Finally, he realizes it me. Whatever. I go pick up another check. We still don't know if that check's going to clear, but the point is just that stuff happens on a routine basis. And this guy lives in a nice house with fancy cars and has his smooze when he calls is always, "I have 30 rental properties. I want to do lots of business with you." Yeah, you can take your business and shove it up your ass, bud. But yeah, it's just you got to get paid. So the weekends is even worse, especially those first time people that you don't know. You know what I mean? There's no history there.
Oh, without question, yeah. So that was the first complaint that happened. That happened a week ago. That may have been in the works on our last podcast. I just didn't talk about it. And then we had another one here just yesterday. And the bottom line is, once again, this was before I knew better. This is 5 years ago. Because in 3 months, that system would be 5 years old. And so 5 years ago, it was I was doing work for a property management company, and this guy did a lot of work for that same property management company. And so I had met him a few times on different jobs, and I thought he was cool. And so he needed a new system. I went out and bid it, and he decided to go with it. It was super cheap because I wasn't charging enough 5 years ago, and got down to payment, and he wanted to pay, just a portion of it. So I agreed. He's like, I give you the rest, in the next 2 months or whatever. So I wrote that and documented it on my ticket. Well, the next month comes around, and what do you know? No check. So I give him a call, and he's like, "Well, I have it. You want to come get it, or you want me to just drop it in the mail?" I'm like, "Just drop it in the mail. That'd be fine." And so he, 3 weeks go by and didn't hear from him. So I call him again. "Well, I have it." Well, at this point, I'm like, I better fucking go get it if I want to get paid. So he lives like 50 minutes away from me. It's like a, 40 miles or some shit. So long story short, I made 3 trips to go get the rest of my money, to go pick it up from him to get paid for this job. Have not heard from him since in 5 years, basically. The parts were actually only warranted for 2 years, but on my invoice, I fucked up and I put 5 years warranty, 5-year parts warranty on the furnace, and it should only been 2 years. That's fine. I'll honor my warranty, but my labor was only covered for 1 year, and we haven't been out there to service it or anything since we installed it. And I'm guessing I'll bet he hasn't had any trouble since we installed it, to be honest, because he called me, obviously, when he did have a problem. But so we give him a price to make the repair. It needs a new gas valve. Give him a price, and he throws a shit fit. So, long story short, we collected our diagnostic fee, and we're not doing it because he basically wants it for free, and I'm just not going to do it for free.
I don't blame you.
Thankfully, he hasn't left a review or anything. If he does, I will definitely be writing on my behalf the situation. So, sorry, that was long-winded.
No, you're good, man. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, these different things you got to deal with. And you know how it is as an owner, manager, stuff like that. You always want to try to do the right thing, and you try to put the customer first, but sometimes it bites you, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it, because you can't really, well, I guess you can change the way you do business in an aspect, as far as you can put different checks and balances and things in place to try to, cover yourself, but you still can't change who you are and stuff like that, because that's your reputation as far as, how you look out for people and how you treat your customers. And I guess we can't let that one asshole screw us over, but it still sucks.
Yeah. Definitely, you don't forget about things like that. When you get burned and from one particular person, and you've got to make 3 trips to 40-mile round or whatever, probably 60 to 70-mile round trips just to go get paid 3 different times. You just don't forget about that stuff. So it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And soon as I saw that he was on the schedule, I talked to my CSR, and I'm like, we have to collect on this job, period. Like, don't let the tech leave without collecting, because I just don't trust him. He's lost his trust with me. So
how much did he technically owe you? How much did he get you for?
No, I finally got paid. And he paid the diagnostic fee for us to come out and find out what's wrong with it, but he didn't want to pay for the repair, because he's going to have to pay for labor, and there's going to be, hour and a half to 2 hours of labor, because we got to drive to the supply house to get the OEM part and then go back to put it on. So it's not, gave him the price. He didn't like it. He was upset, but tough titties. It's just the way it is.
It is what the hell it is. I guess, guys, real fast before we hop into the actual main part of the podcast, is me and Kelly been researching the story that we covered last week about this brutal Bruno Total Home Comfort or Home Performance. A lot of new allegations and fraud allegations and stuff have popped up. Like me and Kelly have said, we are not the jury, the judge, or the executioner for anyone, but a lot of things have come up that they don't look very good. I hope that all this stuff is not true, but in order to have that kind of investigation, I mean, something had to come up. I hope it's not as bad as they make it out. Like I said, Louis Bruno seems like a very smart, cool guy. Obviously, I don't know him personally, so I hope this stuff isn't as bad as they're making it out to be. But it looks like it's not going to be over anytime soon. At least from the way it looks. I know you had something you wanted to say, Kel.
Yeah, they just did a news story, and it was, the headline was that the owner speaks. And the only thing that he said in this news clip was that, he was worried about the 150 employees. Like, what are they supposed to tell their families? And his lawyers were there, and according to the lawyers, it was less than 1% of the amount of business he does. Less than 1% of the customers were actually complaining. So it's just really hard to say, but I'm sure more will unfold as the investigation continues. The lawyers said that they're doing their own investigation as well. So we'll see what happens. I hope that, like Gil said, we hope that the allegations are false. And no matter what, I could tell you it'll be a rough road to recovery. I don't know if it would be possible to recover. I think with being in the media, in the news for that type of, with those type of allegations and reporters talking to homeowners who've done business with them, it'd just be a really tough thing to overcome. So, he may have to do something different with the company ultimately. It's just hard to say, but it'll be he's still got a long road ahead of him. So we'll see what happens and hope for the best for everybody involved. So
yeah, I agree. It's definitely a rough road, no matter how these outcomes, whether the legality things, lawsuits and stuff happen or whatever. I have I look through all the different reviews, and I'm not going to say those on here. If you want to look at them, you guys can look at them for yourself. Make your own opinions. But I don't necessarily think that some of this stuff is the amount of accusations. It's what's in those accusations that are the issue. So, I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, I hope it's all good. And anything that we hear about this, we'll try to keep you guys up to date on it. I know it was pretty big on Facebook. And obviously we're bringing that story just because it's HVAC related. None of us know Mr. Bruno or nothing like that. So it's nothing personal towards him. It's just stating the facts. People are interested, and we're just trying to tell you what we know about it. Other than that,
and I hope he can overcome it and recover. Honestly, I hope that there's some hope there. But gosh, he's, like I said, long road, rough road. So
yep, I agree. All right, buddy. I think you know what time it is.
Let's do it.
Now here's Go Make Money with Kelly McKay.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We are going to continue on with our Overcoming Objections Part 2. And I have to throw a disclaimer out there. The disclaimer is just that you got to understand that by the time we get to asking for the sale, which is what we're doing, we've already asked for the sale, and then Gil's going to role play with me, and he's going to say, well, I need to get 3 bids. The common complaints or objections that we get, that's just the typical thing we deal with on a day-to-day basis. I mean, there's just a handful of things that we hear multiple times. So, but you got to understand that we've already been through an entire presentation. I probably spent an hour and a half with the people by the time we get to this portion. And I've also had them publicly announce that they weren't going to get 3 bids. And they agreed with me that if they had to pick between a company that doesn't do everything they say they're going to do and doesn't have warranties, that they would go with my company. They've already publicly said that it's not all about price. They agreed with me. Like, I've already went through the entire process. They've already agreed that price is not the only concern or thing to look out for when you're making this type of decision. So we've already covered that. So just keep that in mind.
Well, and sorry, I don't mean to chime in here, but
no, you're good.
It's
you're good.
Also, guys, that this is, some guys, they call different things like high pressure sales or certain sales tactics. That's not what this is. This is, let's just be honest. We all have to deal with the sales process. That's just a part of our business. It's a nature of the beast. But there's certain ways to do it, to ask to be able to answer certain questions and to become over these objections that you're going to get. it's not saying that you're going to sit there and beat a dead horse when a customer's has told you no already. That's not what we're doing here. This is just some tips and tricks to be able to help you guys, especially when you're newer and you're younger and you're wondering why you can't close any sales, because the customer is given some of these objections, when you realize that some of these are not that hard to get over. So that's our point, to help you guys get this, just to answer those questions.
It's to help the customer make a decision. And ultimately, if they just are not going to, that's fine. That's where you end it. And you say, when would it be a good time to get back with you? Okay, I will call you Tuesday. But the bottom line is, sometimes it's okay to have some tension when it's time to make the decision. It's natural. So it's just a way that we've got to be comfortable with it. And it's hard to be comfortable. Trust me, it's not easy thing to do, but that's why it takes practice. And so I always advise role play. So you got it pulled up there, Gil, on your computer?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get into it.
Alrighty.
So, Mr. KV, is this the system you'd like to go with?
I'm very interested in it, but I think that I'm gonna have to get some more bids. I like to probably try to at least get 3 bids before I try to make a decision on this.
Sure. Earlier you said that if you had that company that has that high reputation for service and the guarantees that assume all the risk, that you would choose that company. Has anything changed in our time together?
No, I can't say it has.
Let's go ahead and get this done. So instead of going in so I may go ahead and ask for the sale just like that. But once I ask for the sale, then let's just move on to the next one. Okay. So I've got these 3 options, Mr. KV. Which one are you leaning towards?
I think right about now I'm gonna go with that middle option. So I'm not gonna go with the lowest. I don't need the highest, but I think that middle one's gonna be good enough for us.
Okay, so I guess we should have talked about this more. I just want you to keep repeating. Are you looking at the sheet?
Yeah, I'm looking at it, but the only part for me, it just says I need 3 bids, and it's all stuff that you say.
Yeah, exactly. But that's when we just covered the very first objection. I just went over that, and then just move to the next one. Yeah, that's great, Kelly, but I really need 3 bids. And then the next time you say, well, the price is kind of high, and I'll go through that one. And then the next one you'll say, yeah, but that's still a lot of money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Yeah, no, that's
I was just going to go through all of them. I mean, I'll say them real quick, but
you're going to start I'm sorry, you were cutting out. You're going to start on the second one then? The second I need 3 bids?
Yes.
All right.
Is that the system you'd like, Mr. KV?
So, I mean, you to start it off. So, I mean, I'm going to just start up.
Okay, so pretend like we're just we're only role playing the very end of the job. That's it, and we're not going to go any further than you just give me the objection. I'm going to overcome the objection. Then you give me another objection. I'm going to overcome the objection, and just keep giving me objections. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so when we start, do you want me like when we're done this, do you want me to just say blah blah blah, I'm gonna need to get more bids, and then you go, or are you gonna say something?
Yes.
Okay, I got you. All right, fine.
And then once I say something, then you just move to the next one. Okay, yeah, I understand all that, Kelly, and I appreciate that, but I really need 3 bids. You just keep, and then the next one is price. And then you'll say, yeah, but what about this price? The price is kind of high. And then I'll say this, and then just
keep going down.
Right. Just keep going. Yep.
All right, I got you. Yep. So we're on number 2. All right, let's go. Sorry, guys. See, this one tells you we're uncensored and we're raw. We don't practice this shit.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah, everything sounds good, but I'm gonna have to at least get 3 bids before I can make a decision.
We hear that a lot, Mr. KV, and once you get 3 bids, at the end of the day, it still boils down to making a decision. So how are you going to know if you've made the right decision? I mean, what is it that you're looking for?
I don't know, but I'm still worried. I mean, these prices to me, I'm still worried about the price.
I understand. When you say that the price is high, I mean, are you wanting it like the down and dirty rock bottom price, or are you talking about a fair price with a reliable company?
I don't know. It's just the price is just still. It just seems too high. It's too much money for me right now.
What I can tell you, Mr. Cavies, if you talk to more contractors, you're going to find that we're not the highest and we're also not the lowest. We want to be the middle guy because typically we know that the lowest bid and the highest bid get thrown out. So that's why we want to be right in the middle, a fair price for an honest, reliable service. So we've designed the investment for our installations at the price it takes to operate at a fair margin so we can continue to service your system long into the future.
Yeah, all right, so let me pause real here. Since we have so many about the price, we're just going to keep doing that price one, correct?
Correct.
All right. Yeah, Kelly, I mean, I love your presentation. You sound like a great company, but I just, I'm still worried about this price.
Today, most things are priced kind of high. So how much too much is it?
I still, I guess I can't get over in my mind this price and spending this kind of money.
I understand, it's, but you know what? It's better to pay a little more and get what you want than to pay a little less and make a mistake. Let's go ahead and get this done.
Sounds good. Moving on. Yeah, Kelly, I just, like I said, I love the presentation and stuff like that, but I don't know if I can, get over this price.
Yeah, and in this particular one, this may be if you've got a competitor's price. So what I would say to that is, look, the service that they deliver and the service that we deliver are two completely different things. Let's go ahead and do this.
Gotcha. Why don't we, since we've done so many with price, why don't we move on to the next category?
Okay. Do it.
Kelly, so yeah, your presentation has been great, man. I'm really, really impressed, but I don't think I can make a decision until I talk to my wife first.
I agree. You should talk to your wife. I mean, but look, if your wife's anything like mine, I mean, she never tells me no. She never tells me no when it's something that we have to have. And I'm certain your wife's just like mine. Let's go ahead and get this done.
She tells me no for sex all the time. Just
yeah,
kidding.
true.
All right, so this last one. Yeah, everything looks good. I'm liking the price. I'm liking the option. But I still think that I'm gonna have to talk to my wife before I make this decision with you, bud.
Hey, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. Let's go ahead and get this done. That would be a really tough one. That's a tough one to use. So
yeah. Just so people know. So now we're gonna move on to the next one. So, we're still going in that category.
Yeah.
Once again, everything's been good, Kelly. The company sounds great. I'm loving all the options you gave, but I don't think I'm going to be able to narrow one down until I speak with my wife.
Gil, how long have you been married?
9 years.
9 years. Well, man, after 9 years, when you're making a purchasing decision like this, who normally gets to say so on purchases like this?
I would say it's either or. It's not one all the time. We try to be collective in our big buying purchases.
And which one are you leaning towards? That's where I'd go with that. And then you're going to tell me middle. Well, and which one would she normally lean towards? And then you'd get, so what should we do? But we can move on. So,
all right. These last ones, not sure. Are these just all rebuttals?
No, not. This is if the customer is not sure or they don't want to make a haste decision. So you would say, Kelly, I'm just not sure.
Gotcha. All right. Kelly, I appreciate you coming out. I'm just not sure. I don't know if I could make the decision right now.
Look, Gil, I want you to do the right thing. I certainly don't want you to do it if you don't feel like it's the right thing. But I know that you've built a right on you've built a life on making right decisions and taking the right action. So tell me what's not right about it. And then you'd actually get to the real objection by asking that question.
You're not donating it. That's the objection. All right.
Cheap ass.
On to the next one. Yeah, everything sounds good. It sounds like you guys are very organized. I loved your presentation. The bottom line is just I'm just not sure. I don't think that I can commit to spending this kind of money right now. I'm sorry.
At this point, Mr. KV, this is anything but a haste decision. So, did I not answer all of your questions, or do you have some more for me?
I guess I don't know, man. I'm sorry. I guess right now I kind of really just want to wait.
Okay, great. I mean, you can certainly do that, but let me share with you what happens when people wait. Number one, you still need it. Number two, it will never be less expensive than it is today. Every year we see price increases. Number three, you risk having a failure during some extreme weather. Let's do this sooner rather than later.
Yeah, like I said, this whole presentation has been great, but I still think I'm just gonna have to hold off on this and wait.
So you want to think about it, is what you're telling me?
I'm sorry, you cut out. What'd you say?
Let's do this sooner rather than later. I mean, you need this. We're the right company. Let's do this.
Fine. Fuck do it.
I'm gonna wear you down.
Yeah. All right. All right. So we have some more think about it. So, all right. Kelly, the presentation has been great, man. It really is. I'm gonna have to think about this.
Absolutely, Gil. I want you to think about it. I want you to give it careful consideration. But just to clarify my thinking, what phase of this opportunity is it that you'd like to think over?
All right, moving on. Kelly, everything looks good, man. I love all your options. I'm really, really gonna need to think about this before I make this big a purchase.
Absolutely. Honestly, we hear that a lot. And what I can tell you is that, I want you to think about it, and I'm here for you. So take all the time you need, and I'll be happy to step outside. You want to talk with your wife about it? Just turn the porch light on when you're ready, and I'll be right back in.
And as you walk out the door, I lock it. It's like, all right, next one. Yeah, Kelly, everything sounds great. It's a little overwhelming for me right now. I've never made a purchase this big. I'm a new homeowner. I just think I'm gonna have to think about it before I can make this kind of purchase.
I agree. I mean, absolutely. I want you to think about it. But what I can tell you is that, it can take up to 6 months to find out if you've made the right decision or not when hiring a contractor. And there's no other company in town that's going to give you that 6 months or a year to find out if they did the right job or did the job right. So with our guarantees, the job's going to be done right. And if not, we're going to make it right. So let's go ahead and get this done.
Everything has been great so far. I mean, I appreciate you coming out. You were prompt. And all these systems sounds great. I just, I'm not sure to go with this one, to go with that one. I don't know if I can afford to spend this kind of money right now. I'm really, really going to have to think about this.
That's great. I mean, we have the upper, the middle, and the lower price points here. So which way are you leaning towards? Which option appeals to you the most?
I don't know. I'm going to have to still think about this.
It is a lot to think about. I mean, it's a large purchasing decision. So take your time. I'm here for you. What should we do?
I mean, is there any way you could do it for a little bit less?
Okay, I understand. I think, I mean, the way the economy is today, we always want to make each dollar that we spend count. So let me ask you this. When was the last time you bought a high quality product or service and it was the cheapest? So what should we do?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, my cousin Toad, he does this. for a living. So I don't know. Maybe I should call him.
You have a cousin named Toad. That doesn't surprise me. So, so, so that's great that you have a resource in your family that you can refer to. So let me ask you this: if they were to do the job, what would happen if there was a problem? I mean, what would happen? He's up in Boston. So what would happen if something happened and with the system and you needed service, and he was in Boston?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't be able to get him.
Exactly. So what should we do?
I don't know. I think I need to get more prices before I make a decision.
That makes a lot of sense. So you're talking like from other contractors, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna have to try to compare this and just get some more prices. Maybe check online or something. I don't know.
Okay, I understand, but I've got options here, and I'm sure they're going to quote you these different things that I have right here that we're looking at. So, what am I missing in my options that you're looking for them to provide to you that I haven't provided yet?
No, to be honest, you provided everything. I guess it's just scary making this purchase, but I can say that you've been pretty patient with me. You've answered all the questions that I've had. I don't feel like calling cousin Toad and having to wait for him to come up here from Mississippi. But I think I'm going to go ahead and get this done.
Great. We could come out Tuesday or Thursday to install it.
That's great. Can I put the deposit on my food stamp card?
Sure. We actually take.
Do you take EBT?
Yeah. So that's it. There was a whole bunch of ways, rebuttals to come back after you've built rapport, after you've had them publicly say that they would choose your company over other companies and that price is not the only thing that matters. That's the only time that you can really use these, is when you've actually done those things before you got to the end, when it's time to ask for the sale.
And also, obviously, we were doing these things back to back because we were going through categories.
Yeah.
You're not going to use all of these in the same sale. You know what I mean? So sometimes it might be one here, one there. It's not going to be doing it what we just did, just banging through them like that. But these are a lot of good ones, guys. So just know that sometimes homeowners, when you're out there asking for, thousands of dollars of their money, they're not just going to give it to you. I'm not saying you got to beat them up and take it from them, but your presentation needs to be on par. It needs to be practiced. You need to say what you're saying with confidence. You need to be confident in yourself, and that's going to come off as confidence in the company as far as what you do, and that your guys are going out there and you're doing a top quality install, and these people are going to get what they're paying for. And then towards the end, I mean, let's be honest, guys, when you guys go in and you buy a car and the guy says, "Oh, it's going to be, $35,000." You're not just saying, "Okay, where do I sign?" You're asking questions. So it's the same concept. And we need to give the customers those answers. And sometimes we got to peel back the layers of that onion to be able to get to it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. A lot of times you're not going to get the actual objection. You get like an excuse or a complaint before you get the actual, it is the price, hey, that's a little steep. I wasn't expecting to pay that much, but they're not always going to say that right away. So that's why we have ways to overcome to get down to the down and dirty. What is it that you're looking for? What question did I not answer? What option did I not give you that you are looking for from somebody else if you're wanting other bids? So it's just a case of, but you got to understand, once again, the disclaimer is that this is not high pressure. So I know a lot of technicians out there are going to think, oh, this is just pushing something. You got to understand that this is when they need the system. I would never push a system on anybody. It's when they need it. It has to be replaced. It's either got a major failure or they're asking for it to be replaced.
Or also, there's going to be some customers that, like Kelly said, there could be some hints in the first part of that presentation that you know that it's not, no matter what the objection is, you know it's not worth pushing the envelope.
Exactly.
Just because, you know what I mean? You can. These are the ones that you were vibing with the customer. The presentation's been fucking spot on, and then at the end, you got that little hiccup that you need to surpass before you can get this thing done. That's when this stuff comes in. But if this whole process was like pulling teeth, maybe you can try to give, try to shoot it from the the half court line and see if you make it with one of these. But at that point, that's going to be one of those ones that you might, like we said earlier, you might just want to step away and be like, all right, why don't you go ahead and take the time to think about it? Here's my card, and I'll give you a call, such and such.
And it's all in your tonality and the way you deliver a lot of those things too. I'm not being pushy because of my tonality. I'm gonna be lighthearted, and I'm gonna smile while I'm saying some of this stuff. It should be, honestly, it should be fun. You should make it fun, but there's always going to be some tension, and it's normal. It's just, and sometimes just overcoming one objection, that's all it takes to get a yes.
Yeah. And most of these people are the ones that haven't flat out said no.
Yes.
Like, they're the ones that have been, like these are unsure, questions, just not committing to a decision either way, whether it's yes or no. If you have somebody flat out that says, "Oh yeah, thank you for coming out. I'm just, I'm not going to make a decision right now. I'm going to have to do this, this, and this." And they flat out tell you, "I'm not making a decision today." There's no point in trying to get through over an objection because they're not going to make a decision.
Well, I can tell you though, sometimes if they're saying that as soon as you walk through the door, please don't give in to that. If it comes down to like you walk in the door and they're like, "I'm not buying a system today," that is a smokescreen. They're just trying to protect themselves. But once you build the value,
yeah. Well, I mean, if they say that after your presentation, because I agree. Beforehand, that don't mean shit to me. I haven't did my charm.
No, because a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, if they needed a new system, they would be buying today. So don't let them scare you, because that's all they're trying to do. They've got their defense up, just like we get our defense up. If somebody's trying to sell us, but we're not ever trying to sell something. We're just trying to serve the customer at a high level. And if you know you're the right decision, like I said in the last episode, when you know you're the right decision, you're really doing a disservice if you're not brave enough to at least try to overcome one objection, because sometimes that's all it takes. And if they go with another company, are they better off? If the answer is yes, then you need to just shut your business down and give it up. But if you're doing the right thing, you know that your company is the right decision to make. You're going to take care of them. You love your customers. You care about your customers. Like 99.99% of all you guys who listen to this podcast and ladies, then it is the right thing to do to help them make the right decision, because you really don't know what they're going to get if they go with somebody else. And that's scary. That's scary when, I know we're going to take care of them. So I know we're the right decision. And when you believe wholeheartedly, it gives you the courage to say a couple of these when it comes down to it.
Yeah. Well, I had flat out in the group one time, a guy asked me, how do you, when you go in there and got to pitch these sales pitches to these people, how do you leave there, feeling good about yourself? And you know what? And I'll be honest with you. Every sale I leave, well, I won't say every, because sometimes things happen that you have to do what's best for the customer, even if they don't realize it. But I'll tell you this, 98% of the time when I leave a customer's house for a sale, I feel great about myself, because I know that I'm not some fucking, dirtbag. I go in there.
Exactly.
And I do I go in there confident about the equipment that I'm offering, that I have put together the best options that I can offer these customers for their needs. That I have explained them good enough that I have done my due diligence in answering their questions, to making them feel comfortable with me, and therefore being comfortable with me, they're comfortable with the company. Um, you know what I mean? And so when I leave there, and if they made a decision, and if they don't make a decision, hey, you can't win them all. But I know that I'm in there and I'm being honest, and I'm not forcing anybody to do anything. There's several times that I go through and I reassure things, even after I get the sale, before we sign the contract, before we do this, is everything okay? Blah, blah, blah. If you have any questions, before the installers come out, please feel free to call me. You know what I mean? I make sure it's lighthearted. And to be honest, there's probably a couple of times I've talked myself out of sales, but I know that homeowner really, really in their heart didn't know if they were making the right decision. Not because of anything I did, maybe because of their financial decision or whatever it was, to where they've backed out, but then they've came back. Maybe rather than paying for it, we try to do financing or something like that. But I know when I go out there that I'm doing the best I can for the customer every time. Yes, do I make a commission off of it? Yeah, that's the way business works. But
you would never sell something to somebody that they didn't need or wouldn't serve them. You just wouldn't. And that's just someone's character, So if you're in the right character and you're about serving the customer at the highest level, then there's no problem.
Well, exactly. And I love what I do. I'm a people person. I love to talk to different people. I love to meet different people. I get paid well, with or without commissions. So when I go out there, I meet these people. I have a good situation. We have a good time. We chat back and forth. And if the sale happens and they're happy and I happen to make a commission off of it, and this is the God's honest truth, that's just a bonus for me. Okay? That's really what it is. It's a bonus. I don't need that money. If I get it, then yeah, that's great. But I like to help people. I really do. I've always been that way. It pisses my wife off because I talk to everybody, like the grocery store and shit. But yeah, that's just me. I really like to help other people. I rather give than receive. So I mean, not trying to get all sentimental and stuff, but I just feel like some guys we know that there is slime ball tactics out there. There is people that force people in decisions that they don't want to make. I am not going to do that. I won't do it. I will step away.
Once again, you have to understand that I've already been through how a proper installation is done. I've already been through, talking about our company and showing some reviews and telling our signature story and we've been through all that before we get to the end there. So I just know that there'll be a few people take it out of context and think that it's high pressure sales. And I'm here to tell you it's not. That's a story that you're telling yourself. It's you believing in your product and service and knowing that you're the right decision. When it comes down to somebody that has to make a decision, like their heat exchanger's cracked. You've condemned the furnace. You shut the gas off. They have to make a decision. It might as well be with you because you know that you're going to do the right thing. So that's when you believe that and you know that the company you're working for is doing the right thing for people, or you're the owner and you're doing the right thing for people, that's when you'll have the balls to say some of these, and know that you're doing the right thing. You're just helping somebody make a decision. That's what it all boils down to. Because we all need a little push sometimes, because it's a big purchase decision. And I talk about that throughout the presentation too. It can be the third or fourth largest purchase that somebody makes next to a home, a car, and a college education. So it's a big purchasing decision.
Even community college.
Yeah. So
well, plus, and I think objections, they come, as far as for us, you get better with objections with confidence and experience.
Yeah.
The more confident that you are in your presentation and, your interactions with customers, is how that's going to make you better with dealing
There's
with
also,
objections.
sorry, Gil. There's also, real quick before I
Go ahead.
forget, there's also a distinction between an objection and a complaint. So if you give somebody a price and they're like, "Oh my God, I'm in the wrong business. That's expensive." Okay. Yeah, it is expensive. Today most things are. So what should we do? That's a complaint. It's not an objection. They're just complaining because, just like my customer that was upset on what we charged for a weekend call, one of the first things he said was, everything's just so high nowadays. It just, so yeah.
That's good. It's not 1944 anymore, boss. WW2 is over.
Yeah. So it's just something to always keep in mind, that sometimes when somebody says something like that,
Go ahead.
Our natural inclination is to go right back and say, "Oh, well, are you a citizen? Are you a senior citizen? I can take some money off that." Well, you don't always have to take money off. Like in my situation,
I thought you said, "Are you a citizen?"
No. Like you know what I'm saying? Like we naturally say, "Well, let me call the office and see what we can do here." Well, they haven't even said that price is a problem. They just said it's expensive. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference.
And you need to know that it's not always a good thing when somebody says, you get done and they say, "Well, I love to do this one, but can you do it just a little bit cheaper?" And you run out and you think if you come back in and be like, it was for that system was supposed to be $10,000, but we can probably do it for like $9,300 or $9,500.
This is where
that is not always a good thing, because to them they're going to be like, "Well, why didn't you give me that?" Exactly. Why didn't you give me that price from the get-go? Sometimes I give 5% off for a cash, like dollar bills. Other than that, I put my best foot forward. My price is my price. We're not gonna, that way it stops that nickel and diamond shit right there. But what I was gonna say before I forget, because we're getting a little bit over there, but is I've had quite a few times where customers who don't know the cost of systems, and they'll say that they want high end, they want something, thinking that I want a good product, I want something high end, and then you quote high end and they're like, "Well, fuck, maybe I don't want high end." But I've had some people that I guess their pride has gotten in the way, where you kind of got to get around that. It's not that they don't want to buy a system. They don't want to come out and tell you they can't afford those.
Sure. Yeah.
Does that make sense? So you have to almost, if I see those prices and I see them looking and you start to say, well, which option would be good? And you'd see them, start trying to ask questions to get to it when they're beating around the bush. I've had a few customers like this, and I've been like, "Well, why don't you let me do this? Because since I did quote you this, these are all three options are high end pieces of equipment. Why don't you let me, work up a few other ones real fast? Give me like 10 minutes, just so you have some other options to compare these to." And it's only happened a few times I've done that, and then I've been able to get the sale, because those people didn't realize that wanting that fancy stuff had this kind of price tag next
and
to
sometimes
it. But real fast,
sometimes it
go
could
ahead,
just
go ahead.
be, once again, just a complaint. So you just have to be careful and try to get use your intuition with it, and just try to figure out what exactly it is, because I've also heard of that happening, Gil, but then you've already talked to them and you've built the value in like the variable speed and the multi-stage, and they really want that. They just don't like the price. So sometimes it's like, well, we could take it, when you start taking stuff away to get the price down, well, we've got this other furnace now. It doesn't have the variable speed that we talked about. Oh, no. I want the variable speed. You know what I'm saying? You get where I'm going with that? I mean, sometimes you got to feel that out. Don't just automatically take it off the table just because, they're. But like you said, if you've gotten down to the nitty gritty and the bottom line is they just can't afford it, then yes, absolutely offer them a different choice.
Yeah, and that's and what I'm saying is that doesn't happen all the time. It happened like maybe a week ago is why it's fresh in my mind. But yeah, for the most part, I agree. If you have that best system, like Kelly just said, you're going to be like, well, if price is an issue, we can, like you said, we can take away, we can go to a, yeah, we can go from, rather than being 10-year parts and labor, we can go from 10-year parts to 5-year labor. Instead of a variable speed, a full variable speed motor, we can go to what's called a fixed speed motor, a constant torque, which isn't going to be as nice, but it's going to reduce the cost a little bit. Something like that. There's ways to get around stuff. All right, we can't go too far, but I want to chime in real fast on something. Also, last week we talked about high-end equipment. I've had a few emails from people. I won't say his full name. Dennis, thank you for the email. I've read it. I'm going to email you back. Guys, don't ever be afraid to email us if you don't agree with what we're talking about. Guys, discussion is how we grow. It's how we learn. So don't ever be afraid. Not saying that Dennis didn't. He just had some points on the other side of stuff. So you can email us questions about anything. I'm willing to discuss, like a grown adults, about any stuff. Some things we give are our opinions. It doesn't mean we're wrong or we're right. We're just trying to give information to help people. You take what you want out of it and, craft your own trade. I mean, your own trade as far as what you do. I'm making sure I said that correct. It didn't sound right at first. I'm going to say this about high-end equipment, guys. I'm not saying that. I know there's families out there that, they can't afford some of this stuff and blah, blah, blah. I get that. What I'm saying is the high-end stuff needs to be offered, though. It can't be completely off the table. That's where being good at your job comes into play, that you've done an assessment of that home. You've asked questions to try to get the answers that you want before that you're working up prices. That that little Billy has asthma, that's why you're adding in IAQ, or the customer said, hey, this is my forever home, I'm going to live here 20 years. So maybe it makes more sense to offer that more high-end system. If the guy says, I'm leaving, we're going to sell the house in 2 years because my wife's taking a new job or something, probably doesn't make sense to offer that, high-end system that, yes, it's efficient, but in 2 years, they're not really going to reap the benefits from it. So if you do your job correctly, it's really not that hard. But that's my point, that we need to be offering the high-end equipment. I'm not saying that the 14's here around me, that it has a place, but don't do a disservice to your customer by not giving them the option to choose it. If they say no, then hey, that's their choice, but don't make the decision for them. That's what I'm trying to say. Because high inverters and high SEER equipment, that's the future, guys. And don't use this, well, what if it breaks down? I got to order the part and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you guys still buy these Mercedes and fancy cars and you can't go get an oil change at Jiffy Lube, but you buy them anyway. Sometimes people want what they want, and that's not our decision to make for the customer. Okay. You got to have good relationships with your supply houses and stuff like that. And sometimes there's no way around it. You're going to have to get parts, but that customer has also, hopefully you've sold a good warranty with that piece of equipment. Hopefully it was installed properly because it's your company. You're out there.
Hopefully you sold it for enough money to cover any future, a couple of future repairs at least.
Yeah, and hopefully if it's a new install that, they have a service contract with you. So you're out there twice a year maintaining this thing. So you should be able to catch things when they're still small. But yes, we know shit happens. Parts go bad. That's why we have warranties. And sometimes you're going to have to order that control board or whatever it is. It sucks when the customer has that. You want to try to get those parts as fast as you possibly can. Us being Carrier I deal with Carrier, being factory authorized dealers, as long as it doesn't have to come from the factory and it's not some oddball part, normally I can have those parts as long as it's not a weekend, it's normal business days. Normally I can have that thing the next day, at most 2 days. They'll ship it to my shop. So I don't know. I just feel like some excuses that people give, I don't, I'm going to say ignorance, but I mean that in they just not knowing. Cause guys, that's going to be it. That's going to be all there is eventually. And it's going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. So you're going to have to embrace it at some point. These customers, they want to be able to heat and cool their home better. They want to be more comfortable. They want to be able to save on the utility bills. I mean, all kind of stuff. So I won't go down that rabbit hole, but I'll let you chime in, Kelly. That's just what I mean. We have to make sure we're at least offering.
It's not your decision. It's the customer's decision. So what I was going to say is that if you're ever in a position where you're scared to offer that stuff, and I've been there. I haven't been offering it nearly as much as I should. So I'm guilty. Because guys, I'm learning just like Gil and I always say, we're just normal guys, just like you, guys and gals. I mean, we're just trying to do our best and be successful in our companies, and we all make mistakes. We don't all do everything the same way, but I know that I need to offer it more often, and I'm really close to getting that all implemented since we talked last week. So, but it's something that, if you're scared to offer it, like because you're a smaller company and you're afraid what if I have problems? Well, then, man, throw more money on it. Do not be afraid to throw more money on it to cover any future problems. Say if I had to go out there 3 times and spend 8 hours, what are the odds of that happening? But let's say if to cover myself, I'm going to do that, and I just figure out what that's going to cost you and throw it into the bid. That way you're covered. If anything happens, you're covered. And if nothing happens, great. You made a little bit more money. It's not a sin to make a little bit more money on the calls you do or the installs you do.
No, and I'm sorry, but no, and the other thing is where people said it's, you sell these higher end systems with longer warranties, and you're not really getting rich off warranty work. No, you're not. Everybody knows you're not getting rich off warranty work, but you're not losing money either. I mean, obviously you're not going to send, your dipshit tech out there that's going to go out there and take, 3 hours to change a fucking defrost board. I mean, yeah, if it's a warranty and that they're giving you, they're paying for the part and you're getting, blah, blah, blah for labor. It's not what you would normally retail it, if you were doing it yourself. Yeah, you need to make sure that's a guy, even if he is one of your senior techs and he's making a little bit more money. He's going to go out there, he's going to get that part banged out, it's going to be up and running, and he's going to be moving the fuck on to the next call. You're still not going to lose money.
That goes back to your billable hour. Once your labor is out of warranty, then, because that's the thing, if your labor's not warranted, well, then it's, you got extra money because they bought a nicer system up front. So sometimes you got to use some of that money later down in the future to take care of something. But if let's say you only gave 1 year, chances are you gave at least 2 if it's a nice system and the company's just covering that if you didn't purchase an extended warranty. Well, if that happens and 3 years later your warranty's over, that's why your billable hour has to be set right, because you're still going to make money when you bill just your labor. And I'm telling you, it should be anywhere from $250 all the way up to $600-$700, depending on where you live. And you bill that. So if you're there for an hour, 3 years later, 2 hours, and your billable hour is $250, well, then you're going to bill them $500 for your time and cover the part because the manufacturer's covering the part. So the bottom line is, if you're priced right, you're not going to lose money by having to do some warranty work. And we can't stay in business by doing, by losing money all the time. Any little minor warranty thing that goes wrong, sometimes we got to charge for it if the labor warranty is up on what was originally given when you sold the equipment.
And I'll put it this way. Obviously, you guys know that, Kelly is a train guy. He's, does a lot of train. We're factory authorized carrier dealers. I would say that we install, I can't think of a number. We install a shitload of carrier products every year. And I would say that I would say maybe 5% of our total revenue or work comes from warranty.
Right. And that's the way it should.
So yeah, exactly. Because our guys, we're going to factory classes where we're making sure our guys are trained to install the shit correctly, which is going to eliminate issues. Okay. The most important day of these things' lives is the day they're installed. Okay. So if these things are installed properly, the way the manufacturer wants them, you're pulling the proper vacuums, microns, decay test, blah, 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 pressure testing it before you hook it up. And then you're coming out and servicing it. It's amazing how you can eliminate some warranty work. But this is actually a good topic, and we can go down a rabbit hole, but we're that clock's a ticking. So why don't we go ahead and close this out?
Sounds good. Hey guys, I'm going to put together a video, and I'll put together a video of my sales presentation. I won't get into, since we just went over all the objections, overcoming the objections, I won't get into that. I'm just going to go through my sales presentation with you. And I'll probably take breaks and stop in between, and I may have to split it into 2 videos, but I'll share that with you guys just to give you an idea so you can structure your own presentation. When there's a couple of big major shifts that we made, and whether it's in your career or your business, one of them was getting a sales process. We no longer was just stumbling through bids, even if we were given 3 options. If you don't have a little presentation to give, you are losing out on so much revenue because you're just not building the value for your company. You're not creating the why you gotta help communicate why they need to go with you. So sales presentation is big. I'll share that what I have put together. It's not perfect. I'm not perfect, but it's pretty good presentation. It's not bad. So, but guys, thank you so much for listening. Love you guys. Appreciate all your support, and can't wait to bring back some cool information. I'm going to Houston, Texas to a conference next week. The podcast should still come out, no problem. But when I get back for the following week, we'll have a special guest on, so be prepared for that. Someone's going to help us, teach us how to recruit, how our copy should be written when we're looking for somebody out there in the field. Whether it be a post on social media or one of the job recruiting websites. He's going to teach us some things, how to speak to the people that we actually want to attract to our company. So please look forward to that here in 2 weeks. 2 or 3 weeks he'll be on. Should be a great interview. But guys, I'll let you go. We went really long this time, and I apologize. But thank you so much for listening. Appreciate your support, and go make money.
Yeah, guys, definitely check out, man. We have a lot of things coming up with guests and things scheduled that are getting booked in, and we have a lot of good shows coming up here. So definitely make sure you're tuned in, you're sharing it, you're letting your friends and family know. I'll keep this ending sweet. Obviously, thanks to the sponsors again. I'm not going to read them. Thank you to Yellow Jacket, Webbit for a website, and thank you for Killabee. If you go over there, Autism Speaks too. And let's kick back some loot to Isaiah. All right, guys, we appreciate you guys so much, man. Like we always say, this podcast would be nothing without you guys. Guys, we want to hear your feedback, okay, ladies and gents? Me and Kelly don't know everything. Obviously, we want to help give the knowledge that we have and pass it on. to you guys out there that if we're missing something or, hey, man, maybe you want to add this on, guys, email us, okay? It's HVACuncensored@gmail.com. Email us. Me and Kelly check that email on the regular, and we respond back pretty quickly. You can put it in the Facebook group, whatever you want. Also, guys, speaking of Webbit, go and check out our website, HVAC or www.hvacuncensored.com. Guys, sign up for our email list. Get on that list. That's where you're going to hear things first about the podcast up and coming. And there's a lot of new things that are going to be out, and that's where you're going to hear it first. And trust me, you're not going to want to miss it. So, guys, without further ado, I'm going to let this go. We love you guys. Thank you. Remember, guys, always make it home to say where you left. Be safe. And, guys, remember, I've beaten this into your head. Guys, always do the little things and set yourself apart. That's what we preach on this podcast, all right? Knowledge is power. Always keep learning. And I love you fuckers. And I'll talk with you guys next week. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.